have you ever looked up something and suddenly it seems like ads for that product are following you everywhere you go on your phone? Or you've spoken about something and an ad for it shows up on your phone? Are you worried about your data getting collected and sold to some company in America or some foreign country? Well, my next guests are the co-founder of your solution, the co-founder and CEO of a really exciting tech company called Unplugged. They're working to solve this problem for all of us. Unplugged designs and manufactures the privacy-focused Up phone, Up phone, a smartphone that functions just like other companies' smartphones, but without any of the privacy risks. That's thanks to firewalls and other features. The Up phone users can browse, they can shop, they can call, they can text, they can take pictures, they can post on social media, whatever they want to do, without being tracked and without having their data harvested and then sold to third parties. How about your children? Did you know this is happening to them too? Here with me now, Unplugged co-founder Erik, who was previously CEO of Blackwater, and Unplugged CEO Joe Weil. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
It's a great idea. I worry about this all the time because that does happen to me. I'm sure it happens to everybody with the ads listening to you and definitely watching what you do online. I'll never forgive it for coming back to me with an advertisement for elderly Pilates. They misread the situation. That's all I'm going to say. But it can be a far more serious problem than that. Erik, you started the phone company and then brought Joe in because he was a genius at Apple. We're going to get into that. But why did you think this was necessary, given all your years in security?
After the 2020 election, seeing big tech canceling certain voices, throwing people off platforms, and we actually had a team together doing an unlock. And I said, we're never going to make big tech better by complaining about it, only if we can actually compete. And so we went out to build an independent phone platform that allows you to be in the world, but not of the world, and not have all your data collected and harvested and exported. And we managed to make it to market. We've sold 13,000 some devices in our beta test. And now we're out in the mass market. And, we wanted the phone to be comfortable and usable so that people are, it's easy to switch. And I think we've accomplished that. And now with Joe being a true product guy, really taking us to new heights.
So, Joe, you were at Apple, and before we get to the phone, I understand you were there, and you thought it used to be a great company, and then, speaking of Trump, things started to change in the era of Donald Trump.
Definitely. When I first got to Apple, no one ever talked about politics, and that was really appealing, because I'm here in the Bay Area. It was nice to feel like I wasn't at a politicized environment at work. But after the 2016 election, that started changing. People started making comments in meetings, and it became kind of normal to criticize Trump and then conservatives, and it really started ballooning. After a few years, it went from a non-political environment to like a full-on, in the summer of the George Floyd revolution, struggle sessions and intense political talk at work about, COVID not being from a lab, saying things like that is racist. A lot of the pro-transgender sort of re-education happening at work. As these things escalated and became more politicized and started representing a more and more niche kind of, Berkeley Bay Area attitude, I really felt like, man, can I keep contributing to a company that like wouldn't hire my son for one of my sons?
Mm-hmm.
That was very clear. I was supporting a company that was building a future that didn't favor my kids. And then I saw Erik on a podcast about a year and a half ago and reached out, and we started talking, and here we are.
Wow. So, Erik, can you outline for us some of the risks that we're all facing every day when we just carry around our iPhones or our Android phones?
Megyn, the entire industry really exploded after 9/11 when the U.S. government was rightly trying to find more people that fit the profile of the 19 hijackers. And they went to the advertising industry to start looking for certain characteristics. And then when the iPhone came out around 2009, the software development kits, the app development kits, everything was built around surveillance capitalism, all about the ability to collect your habits, where you go, what you buy, who you call, what you browse, to collect that information off your cell phone and to sell it to advertisers. So this entire multi-trillion dollar industry, the reason that Google and Apple are multi-trillion dollar companies is they are surveillance platforms. Google pays $33 billion a year just to have their browser on an iPhone to enable the collection of all that data. And so this is not even Big Brother doing it. This is big tech doing it, and you consent to it. When you buy a new iPhone or a new Android phone with Google mobile services on it, and you scroll through that big user agreement at the beginning that nobody ever reads, you're consenting to have all your stuff collected, analyzed, and exported. And so the phone works with all the apps sitting on the phone to do things as radical as turn on the microphone, to listen to your conversations while the phone is sitting on your nightstand in your bedroom talking to your spouse. Oh, yes.
Surely that's rare. That's got to be rare, no?
100%. I wish it was rare. It is not.
I would, this is a big topic. People ask me all the time, like thousands of times people have said, like, Joe, do the phones really listen? And I can tell you this. The sad thing is, I don't think they have to. I think it's worse. I think it's worse than the mics being turned on. So whether or not an application is turning on a microphone, it's certainly plausible in some scenarios. But the fact is, all the apps on your phone are spewing information constantly to advertising databases that are able to learn everything about you and the people in your life. So for example,
like what? Like how? Yeah.
Sure. So you don't realize, like, when you have a phone and you put an app on it and it says ask app not to track, what's actually happening in the background is that app is opening sessions with third-party data harvesters to transmit. The most important thing is your location. Because when you have everyone's locations, you have like a three-dimensional topographical map of the relationships in our country, right? So you know who sleeps with who goes to work with who goes to the gym with someone else, right? Who goes to church, who goes to a mosque, who goes to a gun store. All of that is discernible from location information that's streaming from our apps, even if you turn location off and ask app not to track. Apps have ways of doing this. Yeah, it's called fingerprinting. So applications use many signals from your Wi-Fi, your cell signal to identify your location. That's being deposited from the app through the SDK, the data harvester, into a data broker, which then turns you into a cohort. So an advertiser can say, show this ad to a 30-something woman in Connecticut who loves Pilates, right? And then they'll nail that cohort, right? So what's happening is you start with relationships and location, and then you go on, okay, someone did a web search and they didn't do it on private. So now we have information about Pilates in that search from on a group of friends, and now you're seeing ads. And I think the big thing we don't realize too is that the amount of ads we're seeing has catapulted in just the last 10 years. Because roughly at the peak of TV, we were seeing like 2,000 to 3,000 ads a day. It's estimated we're seeing 10, 12,000 or more ads per day now, as we've gone from 3 hours of TV a day on screen time on TV to 7, 9, 10 hours a day on smartphones.
Okay, so let me ask a dumb question. Let me ask, who cares, right? The young kids would be like, who cares? We're growing up in the information age. They know everything about us.
I think there's a big risk here. So
the average kid in America, by the time they reach the age of 13, has had 72 million data points collected on them.
Oh my Lord.
Every bit of their preferences, every bit of their human interaction. So imagine now in an era of AI, you effectively have an algorithm digitally grooming them.
And this is really dangerous. All this information being out there, Megyn, I would say there's like layers of problems here. The first is just, let's not discount creepy ads or dystopian. My mom, for example, she went to get a screening. I'm from New York. She went to Sloan Kettering to get a cancer screening for an insurance thing. And just because she brought her iPhone with her and it knew she was there, for a month, she was seeing ads on the Meta platforms about products to help with the after effects of chemotherapy. And she thought that they had discovered she had cancer. Yeah. Luckily, thank God she didn't have cancer.
And some people keep that kind of thing secret, especially from an employer. Yes. I mean, I remember back in the 80s when people were getting HIV diagnoses, and it was like the scourge. You would never have wanted that to come out. But who knows what people are hiding? Could be an STD, whatever. You don't want your employer knowing.
Totally. And all this information is in databases where you can buy it. This is the big thing I think people don't realize. The cell phone information, everything coming from these apps, is meeting a legal designation called third-party doctrine. It's not considered normal data that has Fourth Amendment protections. So the government can buy this. That's, I think, the next risk after creepy ads. Correct. So follow me here. Okay. The government can buy this data to say, hey, who's going to churches or mosques? Who's going to gun conventions? Who's going to anti-abortion rallies? All of this is discoverable and is frequently purchased by the government.
Does the Up phone block all of that?
Sure. Joe, show your phone. The Up phone blocks at the root level those apps from collecting and exporting that data so that you don't have an advertising ID. Your phone, Megyn, has an advertising ID, which is like a 32-digit alphanumeric code, which follows you around and makes your device unique and makes it possible for the apps sitting on your phone to export all of that stuff, which can be bought by anybody with a credit card and $1,000. It's shocking what can be ascertained from that data.
Yes,
the big risk. Can you hold it up? Let's see what it looks like. Does it look like a normal phone, or is it like?
So here's my normal phone. Here's my Up phone. It runs just like an iPhone. We have like our own encrypted cloud storage product. You can see here. That's my son. Let me move over here. Oop. When I flash over here.
He's flashing through his pictures. Whoa.
Dashboard.
No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay. You see that number there? What's that number say?
No, I can't see it.
3550.
Oh yeah, 3551.
30,550.
Okay.
What is
That's
that?
the number of times today that my phone has blocked the apps on the phone from opening sessions with third-party data harvesters.
You're saying this would even happen on airplane mode on these other regular phones?
Yeah. What I'm saying is that the apps on your phone, many of them, are constantly trying to get money by selling things like your location or who's around you or what you're doing in the app. So they're reaching out to do this. Our phone blocks this on the device. So that means my phone's not contributing to this third-party database of advertising information that's purchasable by anyone.
Did you know gold is up around 40% this year? That's not speculation, it's reality. And if a portion of your savings is not diversified into gold, you are missing the boat. Here are the facts. Inflation is still too high. The US dollar is still too weak. And the government debt is still growing. This is why central banks are flocking to gold. They're the ones driving prices up to record highs. But it's not too late to buy gold from Birch Gold Group and get in the door now. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into one in gold. You don't pay a penny out of pocket. Just text MK to 989898 and claim your free info kit. There's no obligation, just useful information. The best indicator of the future is the past, and gold has historically been a safe haven. Text MK to 989898 right now to claim your free info kit on gold. MK to 989898. Protect your future today with Birch Gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.